Well, this regime is a shit show. Keone, what were they thinking?
Thinking? You got to stop accusing this administration about thinking.
The amount of energy that it takes to be a racist is insane.
It's too easy, Stacey. The only thing the internet asks you to be most times is don't be homophobic, don't be sexist, don't be racist. How hard is that?
Apparently they can't handle it.
Stacey, you gotta pull, because I don't know what the hell Trump is doing. Pull a card, because we haven't done that yet. And it's got to be the Fool. It's going to be the Fool. It has to be the Fool.
Oh my God! Who's the psychic now? Cello all, Stacey the Blackfeather Intuitive, and welcome to another episode of Dear Democracy. And today I thought I'd switch it up a little bit and do a segment called Who's the Next to Pack Their Desk? Because we do have a lot in this regime, a lot of interesting cabinet members and players who are, you know, I mean, it's just the clown car, right? And so the question really becomes, you know, who's going to stay and who's going to go. So today's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode than normal. And what I've done is I've chosen sort of the top 5 jackasses of this week from the regime to kind of tap in and see what's coming up for them in this next week. And I chose them based on the fact that they were pulling some nonsense and shenaniganery in the, in the news this week. So these, I mean, they're all doing crazy shit, but these 5 are the ones that kind of stood out. And then we're going to do a 6th card pull at the end to see of, a particular group who is the next to leave. So without further ado, let's kind of dive on in, and we're going to tap into Todd Blanche of the DOJ. He is the acting attorney general who has been Trump's personal attorney for a long time, and he was called into Congress to discuss the Epstein files. And I mean, he just, just like Pam Bondi, he made a mockery of things, and he just out and out lied. I mean, he actually went on and tried to gaslight every single member of Congress. And this one member of Congress, I can't remember her name, she actually read from the settlement, because the slush fund settlement is now, dead, done, gone, and over with. But there's a new settlement that they have, tried to put in place to basically make sure that Trump and his family never gets any kind of tax evasion laws put against them. They don't have to pay taxes, and there's no investigation into them. And, the Congresswoman asked him a direct question, and he just bold-faced lied. And she's like, I'm reading it from your documentation. Like, this is what you said. And he actually said, no, that's not what it means. That's not what it's about. So let's pull a card and see what is coming up for him this week. This is interesting. Okay, well, we're getting 2 cards for him. So, 7 of Swords. So 7 of Swords is the card of liars. It's the card of dishonesty. It's the card of integrity or a lack thereof it. It's also a card of strategy. And so I feel like he is going to continue this week to be called out as a liar. I almost said as a lawyer. I don't mean that. Not all lawyers are liars, but, it is what it is. Freudian slip. What I'm really drawn to here is the yellow, and the yellow in the chakra system, energy wise, it's the solar plexus chakra. It's the identity, mastery, personal power, co-creation. It's also the space of the ego. And so I feel like he is going to continue to be shone in the light, right? So that yellow, think of the sunlight shining on the truth of the matter. Sometimes it gets pretty hot in the hot seat, right? A spotlight on him. And it's going to continue to further come out that he's just bold-faced lying. And I just heard Republicans are going to be calling him out for this, as well as the Democrats. So that's kind of interesting. And the second card I got, another 7. Also more yellow. And this is the 7 of Pentacles. And the 7 of Pentacles is kind of like, is the harvest in, reaping the rewards of the harvest. But if we notice this particular card, we're seeing a lot of activity in the head, a lot of activity in the mind. And I feel like what's going to happen with him is he's going to continue to be called out for the lies, and he's going to kind of burn out trying to come up with, something new to say, something different to say in order to justify his actions. And I do feel kind of like with Pam Bondi, his predecessor, he's going to come out with the Dow is over 50,000. He's going to come up with his own Dow version to talk about. But I am feeling, and I don't feel that this is necessarily going to happen this week, but I feel that the events of this week transpire to such a nature that he's going to end up getting called out, and somebody is going to either sue him directly or call him out for just bad practice, bad behavior. And I feel like things are not going to be good for him. We might have to add him to our list at the end to see if he's going to be, next to go. Now we're going to talk about Markwayne Mullin. And Markwayne Mullin is the current Homeland Security person. And his issue is that he's starting to talk about canceling flights to sanctuary states. Now, sanctuary states are basically blue states. For example, California. California is an example of a blue state. And so what they're trying to do is cancel flights so that people can't go into these other states through flight. And so PS and FYI, right away I went into my head like, okay, if I am traveling, I'm trying to get somewhere, go into the state, one state over, and rent a car and drive to where you need to go. So, there are ways around all of this stuff, and obviously we need to fight against it, but there are so many different fights that we're taking on all fronts that sometimes we just have to get a bit creative, right? So what do we need to know about Markwayne Mullin, who quite frankly is, in my opinion, not the brightest bulb on the tree. Even when he talks and when he speaks about things, he comes across as very unintelligent. Here we have the 10 of Wands. Wow, this is interesting. So rewards and the burdens that go with it. I feel like he's already burnt out. I don't know how that's possible. He's only been in the job, 2.5 months or whatever the hell it's been. But I feel like he's already burnt out. I see him being like emotional. He's an individual who really reacts from an emotional perspective. He's not wrapped too tight. So it doesn't take much, I'm seeing, with him to kind of like, poke on a tender spot, a sore spot, and run into some trouble. This week, I feel like there's going to be some kind of scandal information that comes out about him that is going to make him very emotional and also very irrational. I actually don't see that he's going to be maintaining this position for very long. He might be someone that goes next. We'll have to, pull a card and see. But I'm definitely getting with him almost this energy of like not being able to face scrutiny, not being able to face when truth hits him right in the eyeballs and he can't talk himself out of it. He can't talk himself away from it. He gets either angry or he gets very tearful and he gets extremely defensive. I see that there's going to be some kind of public experience. Something is going to come out about him. He's going to be faced with it. He's going to be called out on it. And I feel that that's going to be a downward spiral. I do feel that that is going to come up at some point in time this week. Okay, Marco Rubio is our next extra special. And he's the Secretary of State. He also just appeared before Congress and, told a bunch of lies. Now, Marco Rubio is the only true, I want to say, a politician in the clown car. And so he does kind of, I don't want to say he makes sense when he speaks, but he understands political speak. So it can, to people listening to him, it can really sound like he knows what the hell it is that he's talking about. But he often talks in circles and he doesn't make any sense at all. So, he's dealing with foreign policy. He's the one that's, dealing with the stuff going on with the Iran war, even though it's supposed to be J.D. Vance. And of course, we also know that Marco Rubio is being pitted against J.D. Vance. There's, talk that maybe J.D. Vance won't even be VP, that Marco Rubio will be selected to take his place. I mean, not sure how that happens with the Constitution, but given the way this regime operates, they're not paying attention to the Constitution. They're not following laws of any kind. So who the fark knows? But let's dive in and see what's coming up for him this week. Oh, interesting. Okay. Wow. So we've got 10 of swords for him. Another 10. So 10s, this is like finality and then like a new beginning, right? So this is kind of like a phoenix burning card where you come to the end of the road with something. There's nothing more that you can do. Dead, done, gone, and over with. The only way forward is forward, right? Like the only way out is forward. I'm feeling that something is coming up around the Iranian war where Marco is going to have to make a definitive call, a definitive choice. I also feel that there's going to be, and I hope I'm wrong on this, I feel that there's going to be a bombing on U.S. soil in some capacity that is directly connected to the Iran war, to the negotiations. And I feel like Marco is kind of caught between a rock and a hard place because he's going to know what the best approach is going to be given the circumstance, but dear leader is not going to accept that. And so he's going to have to decide, do I follow dear leader or do I go against the grain and get this job done? I do want to say he has some higher aspirations, like he wants to be able to look like the adult in the room, the sane one. And I feel like this is going to be a turning point for him. Either he goes down with the ship or he breaks away and does something that is going to be a bit different than what people are expecting him to do. Not saying that he's doing a great job, just saying that he's got his ulterior motives, and I feel like he's faced with a choice, and he recognizes the potency of this choice. This is my now or never moment. So we'll have to watch and see what comes up there. Now, we've got Tulsi Gabbard's replacement was announced this past week, and it's Bill Pulte Jr. He's a big real estate mogul, real estate tycoon, a bit of an idiot. And like his father made all the money and then he just, he's kind of a Nepo baby and just kind of does his own thing. He's very loyal to dear leader. And he has been targeted to be the next intelligence director. And Tulsi Gabbard wasn't great, but she also was kind of a seasoned politician. So at least there was something there. I'm not saying she was great because she wasn't. And she's leaving because supposedly, due to her husband's failing health, he was diagnosed with some kind of awful, horrible cancer. And she's, leaving to stay home with, to be with her husband. I think that's part of it, but I don't think that is all of it. I think she was given a choice, be fired or resign. That's what I feel happened with her. So Bill Pulte is he's an idiot. He's a nothing burger. He knows nothing. He's similar to Trump in that, he got a ton of money from his daddy and he doesn't really know what the fark to do with it. So let's see what's coming up for him. And the question I would ask here is he actually going to be in that position long term, or is there going to be some resistance? Interesting. So we've got the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is a card of entrapment, and I'm feeling very much that there's going to be something that comes up where he'll be the acting for a minute, maybe a minute and a half, but there's going to be so much pushback on this that he's going to end up needing to step down, and they're going to replace him. They're going to find somebody else to replace him with. Something's going to come out with him as well that feels like it's connected to either the Epstein files or something connected to Middle Eastern ties that has not been exposed about him before. This is a fairly recent past choice. Just bad connections bad dealings, and something is going to come out about him. And I feel like this is going to be the kind of the turning point, the catalyst, where he's not actually going to be able to fulfill the role because there's something else. Also, I just heard Putin not liking this guy, not trusting this guy for his own nefarious purposes. So something connected with Russia. And I feel like that might be the reason that he doesn't end up staying in the role for very long. So we shall see this week. I do feel that he will be put in the position, but I don't feel that he will hold it for a long time. You know, he might be in there for 2 months, maybe 3 tops. And I feel like there's going to be scandal all the way while he is in that position. Okay, now we're going to check out one of my personal favorites, jackass MFer Pete Hegseth of the DOD. So he, this week, denied promotions to Black service members and women service members against military leader recommendations. And so that's the latest and greatest. Now, you know, am I surprised? No, this guy is a misogynist first and then a racist second. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Are these things going to hold? What does he have coming for him this week? Oh, interesting. So this is always very interesting when we pull this card. This is the 5 of Wands. So as you can see, there's toxic waste, toxic information that is being, you know, dumped into this garbage receptacle, kind of a dumpster energy. And I feel like, you know, not only is this what he's doing, you know, we can say this is the military, right? And he is, you know, dumping all of his, you know, nastiness, his nonsense and shenaniganery into there. But I also feel like there's only so much you can do before there's going to be an eruption, an implosion. And I feel like we are coming up on that. I do feel that Friday, either Friday of this week or next, so like with tarot, timing is a little bit off. So, you know, just be a little forgiving about the timing and just pay more attention to the information. It's almost like they hit a saturation point and something bubbles over. There's also something that's going to come out about, I'm hearing about his current wife, that is not going to be pretty. It's not going to be good. It's not something that they're going to be able to squash. It's kind of like, I don't know, maybe she comes over to the other side. Maybe she, you know, asks for sanctuary, you know, asylum, whatever. But I feel like something's coming up around his wife, his current wife, that is going to be really quite damning. And I don't know why the wife would also trigger sort of an implosion from a military perspective. But I feel like it all kind of ties in together. Ooh, I just heard that maybe she was having an affair with somebody in the military. So anyway, for entertainment purposes only, this is a psychic reading. I could be right, I could be wrong. I could only give you what I'm getting. But I feel like this week with Pete Hegseth, he is going to kind of implode, or something's going to implode around him, and he's going to be left holding the bag. Is he, you know, how is he going to handle it? I keep seeing him kind of going a little bit underground. They're going to give him some kind of, you know, big task and say that he's, you know, off doing some big task. They might even get him out of the country for a particular period of time, hoping that it's going to all blow over. But I feel like, kind of like the Epstein files, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. Okay, so you know what? We're going to just, I was going to do a different list to see who is the first to go, but let's do it just based on this list today. Who's going to be the first to have to pack their desk up and leave? Between Todd Blanche, Markwayne Mullin, Marco Rubio, Bill Pulte, or Pete Hegseth? Oh, interesting. So I'm actually getting a little bit of the Todd Blanche and Pete Hegseth here. So we've got the 3 of Pentacles. The 3 of Pentacles is a card of collaboration. It's a card of paying attention to the details. I can't help but notice that there are obviously 3 people being, you know, represented here. So there are 2 that are working really hard and 1 that is overseeing the work, that is holding, you know, the completed pentacle in this situation. I also have to point out that it's another yellow. Who did we get yellow with? Todd Blanche. We got a lot of yellow cards with Todd Blanche. So I'm definitely feeling Todd Blanche and Pete Hegseth. And if I had to choose which one would go, kind of pack their bags first, I'm going to say it feels like Todd Blanche, because whatever is going to be coming out for him, more lies coming out, I feel like there's not a whole lot that they're going to be able to do to kind of be a saving grace for that. So it's going to be hard to justify keeping him in and keeping him on for any length of time. So I'm going to say it's Todd Blanche first, but there is something coming out about Hegseth that is also going to be really hard to deny. All right, guys, so that is our Dear Democracy for this week. As always, keep smiling. We have to laugh, because if we're not laughing, we're crying. Keep your energy up. Stay positive, stay focused, and until we see you for another Dear Democracy or Black Feather Crime or pop culture or anything else on my channel, I send you guys lots of love, lots of support. We'll see you on the flip side, and transform well.